All right, so in the previous example, I mentioned something about vertical asymptotes and holes. All right. The problem is, many times students either A, and I'm going to be honest, they were never taught how to find the difference between the two, or B, you just forgot. Uh, and I'm here to kind of just brush off the cobwebs, show you an example, because I got to be honest with you, the calculator will lie to you. Desmos is going to lie to you. So you got to know how to be able to navigate through the lies and get to the truth. So here's an example right here. F of x equals x minus 2 over x squared minus x minus 2. Our goal is to find any vertical asymptotes or holes. Now, some students, and I'm not saying this is you, but I have seen this before, so I want to make sure I want to make sure that we can verify this. Some students were taught to find vertical asymptotes. So to find vertical asymptotes, all you have to do is take the denominator, set it equal to 0, and solve. And while this is partially true, it doesn't give you the full picture. So here's what I want us to look at first. Let's go ahead, let's factor this, okay? So when I factor this down, x and x, minus and plus, two numbers that multiply to get 2, but combined to give you -1 is going to be -2 plus 1. All right? So if I set each one of these equal to 0, we would find that x equals 2 and x equals -1. Now, like I said, many students would assume that both values here are vertical asymptotes, and I'm telling you, they're not. The easiest way for me to explain this is let's go ahead and let's look at what x minus 2 over x squared minus x minus 2, our function, actually looks like graphed. So I went ahead and did this already, and here's our graph. Now, I can zoom out all day long, and clearly there is only one asymptote here, and that's at x equals 1. That's the red line that we see going up and down. Okay? What I'm here to show you is that there's actually a hole somewhere in this graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our notes real fast, and I'm going to show you where this is. Clearly, we've already identified that x equals -1 is the equation for my vertical asymptote. The question is, what is going on at x equals 2? Well, here's how we go ahead and we approach this, okay? At the very start, if you wanted to, you could have rewrote this problem in its factored form. And I am okay with that. But, like I said, once again, you lose some of the richness, okay? Watch what happens here. I'm going to let x equal 2. And I'm just going to evaluate my function. So when I go ahead and do that, f of 2 is going to equal 2 minus 2 over the quantity 2 minus 2 times the quantity 2 plus 1. Now, if I were just to simplify this the way it looks right now, I know that in the numerator, I would get a 0. In my denominator, 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 plus 1 is 3. However, 0 times 3 is 0. This, whenever you have 0 divided by 0, that is called an indeterminate form. Okay? That's called an indeterminate form. Now, if we go back and we look at our graph right here of our function, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just let my mouse go over to x equals 2, which is going to be right about here. Oh, I'm close. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. it's not going to work with me. There it is right there. So as we can see here, 2 is definitely undefined, okay? Therefore, there's a hole in this situation. Now, if we go back here, let me explain why. If we let x equal 2, we get this indeterminate form. Whenever you approach 0 divided by 0, indeterminate form, that tells you you have a hole. Now, what about x equals -1? Well, if I let x equal -1, and I evaluate my function again, I'm going to get -1 minus 2 all over -1 minus 2 times -1 plus 1. Now, the difference here in the numerator, I actually get a -3 divided by 0. Okay? Because you have a number divided by 0, you got a vertical asymptote. And there's the difference. So if I kind of just want to sum everything up for us real quick, and I'll do it in this little box I'm about to create. 0 divided by 0, that's a hole. A number divided by 0, that's a vertical asymptote. And you got to be careful because, like I said, calculators lie to us. Even if I go back to our graph right here, you would, looking at this right now, even if I, let me try to thin down that line here a little bit. So I click here, hold it in. Let me make the weight of the line 1. Even if I zoom in at 2, it still looks like there's a value there because it's a solid line. However, if I move my mouse just ever so slightly, oh man, you don't understand how hard this is. Come on, one more try. There it is. Nailed it. Nailed it. 2 comma undefined. That's because we have 0 divided by 0. All right? So I hope that helps. It kind of, I think, clarifies a lot of stuff because I got to be honest with you. A lot of students just, they don't really realize that, there's a situation where you can have holes. So I hope this helped. I'll see you in the next video.